Welcome back to Cooking and Kids. This is going to be one of my favorite and our sweetest episodes ever because we are embarking on a journey on becoming beekeepers. I'm going to show you what have happened in the last few weeks, a couple of months, and then we're going to wrap up this episode with the old-fashioned honey cookies. I've been wanting to have bees ever since I was a child. And this year, I finally had it and decided to do it. To help me get started, a local bee rescuer, Sergio from AA Beekeeper, brought me my first hive of bees. This was literally one of the happiest days in my life, but the happiness lasted only for a few hours because my bees left the hive. I wish somebody was there to capture the footage of what happened next because I myself had to go and retrieve the bees and I have never done anything like this. Talk about being scared. My muscles were hurting for weeks after that encounter because I was so tense while I was doing it. Now that I got my bees back in, I have to make sure to give them enough incentive to stay. So between palms blooming and a honeysuckle blooming, I also provided these emergency feeders, which is basically just sugar and water. Having knowledge and experience, it's a huge advantage in anything that we want to do in our life. So step one, I first of all did not have enough frames. So I went in to add the frames to my beehive and this is what happened. The bees have already formed the comb and when I lifted the lid, the combs broke off and everything fell down. I was devastated, lost, and panicky because I didn't know what to do with the comb. I really messed up this time, but I knew I needed to add these extra frames to the beehive so that bees will not continue to make comb on the top of this lid. Now I had these combs and I didn't know what to do but to put them in between frames. In our future footage, you will see what the professional beekeepers do and we'll show you how to avoid something like this. But at this moment, this was the best I could do. One important thing that I did notice in a hive is that although bees were making the comb, there were no eggs, no larvae in it, which meant that we did not have a queen in this hive. I was off to do some research and find out how to mend this situation. Apparently, I needed to bring a comb from another hive with fresh eggs and young larvae and young bees like these in order to produce a queen. I called Sergio to let him know that we will need another colony with queen and I started building a new beehive. So I'm very disappointed about not having a queen in my hive, but that's not a reason to quit on this journey to beekeeping. So what I'm doing right now, I'm building additional boxes and I already contacted a local beekeeper and I asked him if he could bring me another colony and hopefully this time this colony will have the queen. And if it does, within a first 10 days, I will be able to transfer, hopefully, to transfer some of the brood or larvae, actually not a larvae, but the eggs from the hive with the queen to the queenless hive. And this way, maybe the bees will turn one of these eggs into the queen bee. The nature of bee is so interesting and so intricate. I was absolutely fascinated. And this time, I was getting ready properly. And I was making sure that the next colony will have the proper box with enough frames so that we don't make the same mistake again. To welcome our new colony, my daughter did some decorating and I put a fresh coat of a seal on our box to make sure that it lasts. Always good to involve your kids or your grandkids in projects like these. This is one way to introduce beekeeping to your family or to youth in your family because this is one of the skills or knowledges that should be passed on to newer generations because no matter what, we will always need bees and this is a great hobby. It could be a great pastime and even a career to your kids or your grandkids. We're gonna let the paint dry and go to kitchen to make some cookies. So let's start with a cup of honey, and this is our local raw honey. Next is 1 cup of extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. Then we're gonna gently whip these 2 ingredients together. Making cookies out of honey, there's something special about that because they smell like no other cookie in the world. So while I'm making these cookies, this recipe is definitely taking me back home. You can see how nicely this is already shaping up. So the next thing are eggs. We're gonna go with 6 egg yolks. Now that eggs are well blended, we're gonna add a cup of mixed crushed nuts. All right, so far we have honey, olive oil, egg yolks, and nuts inside. So for the rest of the recipe, you can go basically as simple as vanilla and flour, a little bit of baking soda and baking powder, and be done. But I like to add a little bit more personality, if you will, to these cookies. So I'm gonna use just a touch of cloves, a little bit of birch salt, and a touch of ginger, as well as a little bit of nutmeg. I'm also going with vanilla, and to wrap up all these flavors together, I'm gonna use some fresh lemon zest and lemon juice. You can use as much as lemon as you like and lemon zest. So we are also adding half a lemon juice. I'm gonna go ahead and add baking soda. So watch what's gonna happen. This baking soda and lemon will react. So we're gonna get these bubbles, which actually these little bubbles will make our cookies fluffy. So we're going with a teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. Now, when it comes to the rest of the spices, you can go per your taste. So I'm just gonna put a handful of the birch salt, very little of cloves, because I don't want clove flavor to take over the smell of honey. Just a little bit of nutmeg. And also a good pinch of, this is ginger powder or grounded ginger. And then we're gonna combine it all together. And all that's left to do is to add flour. Also, let's not forget the vanilla. And we are going with the 1 tablespoon of real vanilla. This smells so incredibly good. When it comes to flour, we will gradually add cup by cup until we reach the right consistency. This is turning out to be just as I remember my grandmother. It smells heavenly. Altogether, we are using 3½ cups of flour. Now that we have enough flour inside, I'm gonna let the dough rest, and we are gonna go outside to see what's going on with our bees.
Good afternoon. I'm here at VLADA'S place again. We're bringing her a replacement colony, or a second colony, and we have brood combs, we have nectar and honey to go along with the boxes. So we're going to start right now. So we rescue colonies from one location and we can move them to our host-a-hive program. So people sign up to keep bees. They can email us or call us from our website. They can go to social media on Yelp, Google. There's other search engines you can find us in too. If you want to raise bees, all you need to buy is a box online. You need a foundation. You need a deep box, 10 frames, and a cover. and you don't have to worry about bees. We can bring you the bees. Yeah, we're getting a lot of calls, a lot of inquiries online about people trying to host bees. They want to go into beekeeping. My vision is to grow the host-a-hive program. I want more bees to be involved. I want more people to be involved with bees, to keep bees in their property. Just in San Diego County, Riverside County, Orange, and LA, if more people are aware that they can keep bees, you know, they can sign up, we can bring them bees, and the bees can thrive. They can continue, you know, their population can grow in all the counties that are nearby. We just need more beekeepers.
What got you in this business?
This is back in the 90s. I had a person that needed help with bee removal. And we were removing bees, but we weren't really relocating them properly. So I didn't like that, and so we started AA Beekeeper, and we started this host-a-hive program where we can move bees to. And I started buying equipment to keep bees myself, and I just thought that it'd be best to, you know, expand the program and have more people involved, so we can have more places to take the bees, so the populations can thrive.
So can kids get involved with something like this?
Kids could get involved as long as they are somewhat educated on how to keep bees properly. All they need is a bee suit, some gloves, and a smoker. And you need somebody to teach them on how to properly open up the box, pull the frames out, and check if there's wax, brood, or honey, or, you know, find out if the queen's laying eggs, make sure there's no ants and other pests in the hive. And you just need somebody to has the patience to do that, you know. And
so this is going to give us a much higher chance to start the healthy colony, because you just picked up this colony off of somebody's attic or rooftop.
Roof. Yeah, it was in the attic.
Very good.
It was from a roof. I'm going to open the lid so you can see. Your veil, is it on?
Oh, wow.
This time, Sergio was able to bring me comb with honey, with pollen, and also to bring an entire nursery from the beehive.
And then at the bottom here, the whole center, you can see pollen.
And so for those of you who don't understand what brood means, this is actually a place where they are growing new bees and sometimes new queens.
They're hatching out here, you see that? The baby bees?
It's just catching now?
See, these bees are hatching?
Yeah, they're just coming out. Oh my gosh,
Look
this
at
is phenomenal.
This one's hatching right there. You see the heads right here poking out?
Oh no, this is the best. Oh, how privileged are we to witness this firsthand. So brand new bees are coming out, and these young bees will within the next 3 days be able to produce royal jelly so they can feed other bees. And I'm learning all this stuff, and I would encourage you guys to go and read up about the life of a bee online. There's so much information, but seeing it like this in real life happening right in front of us, this is just amazing. So it's very easy to see that we have a much greater chance to keep our bees because we're bringing food, we're bringing nursery, and we're bringing pollen and all the other stuff with the hive. Of course, we have to make sure that we try that honey is good so we can share it with bees, right?
Right.
Oh my God.
Everything.
All right, come close. I want to show you how rich this looks. As I said, like a beautiful amber, something that only nature can create. It looks gorgeous. And even before I taste it, just the look of it makes my brain super happy. So let's see how good it is. So good. When you try something like this, you just realize that all the things that you need to do and learn in effort to become a beekeeper is worth it, because a find like this, like the trueness of the flavor, sweetness, and everything the bees have put into creating this, it's something I can't communicate to you over the video. You really have to experience this yourself.
Right.
This is nothing like the honey that you buy in the store. It's untouched, unspoiled. It's so rich in a flavor and so sweet. So
there's no machines that extract the honey. You had a taste from the comb.
You have it, yeah. This is unbelievable. I'm just gonna take just a little bit more. Delicious and just amazing. And I hope that this series of videos will really encourage you to look into doing something like this with your family, because no matter what happens, I think the need for good honey will always be there.
Yes.
Yes, and the world will always need bees, and we will always need honey. So it's an industry that can't fail.
Exactly.
God bless bees.
All right, so let's go and get our second hive set up. This is a little trick I wanted to share with you. You remember my panic when a comb fell off of the top of the other hive and how I butchered it basically. This is a simple trick that I did not know. So basically what you would do, you would remove the part of the frame, the plastic part, and you will just insert the comb and secure it with the rubber bands. Such a simple little trick, and it works.
Favorite flavors of honey is avocado because it's just so rich. It's dark and it's just very sweet.
Ponemos otro.
¿Cuántos van ahí?
Hay dos en cada lado, cuatro.
¿Ves, tira? Tiene mucho polen.
And now came the exciting part. It was time to bring these babies home.
Oh, look at you. That's smart.
The bees in the box are walking down
That's very clever.
through their comb, through their honey, nectar, their pollen, and their larvae.
This was a large and healthy colony. And unlike the colony I received initially, that was quite a bit more tamed. This colony came with little extra attitude. It is quite possible that because this colony came with its comb and with its own honey in it, brood, and above all with its own queen, that this colony was a little bit more protective. Now, it was larger, it was meaner, and I was grateful that Sergio and his team were here to help me out.
Okay, we're going into the box that we set up earlier to see if there's any progress there and if the bees are settling properly. Also, we'll be looking for any larvae.
We pull out other frames.
Okay.
There's more bees on this frame.
Good beak. Oh my gosh, they have done a lot.
We already built some comb right there.
Or maybe they're reattaching the one.
That fell. Yeah.
They're reattaching the one that we dropped. Okay, do you see anything in there except
Trying to
honey?
look for the queen. There's comb built, nectar, and pollen here.
No eggs, right?
No eggs.
Okay, we're checking one more frame just to make sure that there are no eggs. The bees are starting to build combs on this frame, which is a good sign. That's good. They're reorganizing after what happened last
I
time.
thought that was a queen, but that's
The good news is the colony is working very hard to repair the damage that I caused a couple of weeks ago. But the bad news is there are no fresh eggs in a comb, which means that the hive is queenless. Without a queen and fresh eggs, the hive can live for only about a couple of months before it collapses completely. After cleaning up the mess I created earlier, the idea was to transfer one frame from the colony with the queen, and this would be the frame with the brood, with fresh eggs and with larvae, into the queenless hive. By bringing fresh eggs to the queenless colony, worker bees can turn one of these larvae into a queen by simply feeding it a royal jelly. Fingers crossed. For now, we're going to let the bees settle in, and then I'm going to come back tomorrow to check on our new colony. A couldn't wait to check on them the next morning, and what I found out is the colony was still settling in. You see these little bees with their bottoms pointed up in the air? They were signaling to the rest of the bees where the queen is. Some of the bees have settled on the bottom of the box, some were inside, and some of them were sitting on the top. I have always been an insect person, and this was truly fascinating to see how bees communicated and worked together. And it was good to see the bees that were stuck on the top were slowly making their way to the hive's entrance. Relocating bees is a wonderful alternative to killing them, but sadly it does come at its cost. However, nature makes sure that none of it ever goes to waste. Call me strange, but I could sit and watch bees for hours. And since I have this new hive, I just felt, being a good host, I should help them settle in. And I decided to go ahead and help the bees that were stuck on the bottom get to the top of the hive. Well, these bees were not as friendly as the ones I had before, and they meant business. Ouch! Well, they sure showed me who's the boss. So I'm back in the kitchen now to wrap up our honey cookies.
Anyhow, we're ready to bake our cookies. So what I was just doing here is getting a little flour on one of these ice cream scoopers, and then I'm just gonna fill it up with the dough. Okay, there it goes. And I'm gonna do the same thing in between each scoop, just to make sure that this dough does not stick.
All that's left to do is to bake them on 350 for about 13 to 15 minutes. Days after reintroducing new eggs to the queenless hive, Sergio came back to check on the progress.
Where? Where do you see eggs? There. Oh my goodness, we did it!
The bees in this box have made the new queen.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's hot. Yeah. So that means the queen is inside.
Baby.
We did it. This was so exciting, and I couldn't wait to share this news with my daughter Michaela. In reality, all of this was filmed and done to encourage my kids and yours to explore possibility of becoming beekeepers.
You're seeing the eggs?
So that's, okay, those are now larvae that are turning into bees, right?
Yes, they're going through the brood cycle,
Yes.
and the nurse bees are taking care of it. All right, let me see. This is just pollen right here.
Just the pollen.
Yeah. See the different colors?
Of pollen,
Right here, different colors of pollen. Yellow, orange.
And then Sergio pointed out to the chambers in which he suspected drones were raised.
Bees are so docile. You see the larva right here, right?
Yes, I see the larva.
I can't see one. They're really gentle.
We now know we have the queen. Now we wanted to see if we could find her.
Ready?
I see her.
Yeah.
Get the queen in.
This was a good day, and this felt so rewarding. So thank you again, AA Beekeeper team, Sergio, and the rest of you guys for helping us get set up on our journey to becoming a beekeepers. We started this journey without much knowledge, but as my grandmother would say, where there is a will, there is a way.
Definitely call this a happy day, because after all the struggles that we went through with this particular hive, getting it in first day without any honey or any brew or pollen, and losing it that same day, recapturing it and reintroducing new larvae and eggs so that we could come up with the queen. To see queen actually here today, it's such a good feeling, and it's something that I guess what we have learned from this is, if the beekeeping does not start off the right way on the beginning, just don't give up and figure out the way to take care of your bees and to grow your colony. Well, obviously, none of this will happen without Sergio. He kept coming back, and he's the one who kept bringing the fresh bees, and he's the one who brought us the larvae and keeps checking on our hives. So thank you very much, Sergio.
You're welcome. So that's good. You have 2 queens.
I am so happy.
Colonies.
This is our first and just one of the episodes we will dedicate towards becoming a beekeepers. To follow the journey and the fun, please join us on our Facebook and our Instagram page. We would love to hear from you, so go ahead, send us your comments and your suggestions. Our old-fashioned honey cookies are done, and now we are going to present them. I couldn't think of a better way than this delicate linen and needlepoint artwork. This exquisite piece of art done on a delicate linen was rescued from a thrift shop. If you're not a thrift shopper, I would definitely suggest you give it a shot because there are so many beautiful items and art pieces that are waiting to be rescued. Repurposing and reusing is good for both your pocket and for the environment. Thank you so much for watching our program and for spending time with us. Our goal was to introduce you to a simpler way of baking and to revive and bring back one of these old world and old-fashioned honey cookies. My name is Vlada Vladic, and I'm a founder of a charitable organization called VLADA'S Seeds of Life, whose mission is to teach young families and kids how to cook and how to garden. And in the process of this, our goal is also to help reconnect American families and communities. We would love to continue to bring a positive program like this to public. To find out more about our charity and to learn how you too can get involved, please visit VLADA'S.com.